It was already dark when Kemi stepped out of her office. The streetlights flickered like tired eyes, and Lagos buzzed with its usual chaos, shouting bus conductors, honking cars, and people rushing home. Her legs ached, her phone battery was dead, and her stomach growled. All she wanted was to get home, eat, and sleep. Last bus. Ojota. Ojota. Maryland. Maryland, a conductor shouted, hanging from the door of a yellow bus. Kemi hurried towards it. The driver's face was half hidden under his cap, but his voice was calm. "Fine girl, enter. The last seat is there." She slid into the seat beside a woman clutching a nylon bag. Kemi leaned on the window and sighed, thinking of her small rented room waiting for her. Outside, Lagos lights blurred as the bus began to move. Her eyes felt heavy. Just a short nap, she thought. Just a few minutes till we reach Maryland. But when she opened her eyes again, there were no lights, no buildings, only darkness, trees, and strange voices whispering in the night. Her heart froze. "Driver, where are we?" she stammered. But the driver only laughed, a cold, hollow laugh that echoed through the forest. Kemi's body trembled as the bus stopped in the middle of nowhere. The cold night air beat her skin. Around her, 8 other passengers stood awake, confused and frightened. "Where are we?" one man asked. No one replied. The driver and conductor were gone. Only the sound of crickets filled the air. Suddenly, rough men with torches appeared from the shadows. Their faces were covered. One shouted, "Move! All of you!" They dragged the passengers out, tying their hands with ropes. Kemi's knees shook as she stumbled through the forest. After walking for what felt like hours, they reached an old wooden hut surrounded by darkness. Inside, there were mats, chains, and blood stains on the floor. A man groaned weakly in the corner. Kemi's breath caught. Then it dawned on her that she had been kidnapped. One of the men turned to them and said coldly, "You belong to us now. No one will ever find you here." Kemi's heart shattered. She whispered, "God, please help me." Kemi sat on the cold floor of the hut, her wrist tight. The smell of blood and sweat filled the air. One woman beside her sobbed quietly, another man kept muttering prayers. Kemi tried to stay calm, but fear crawled through her chest like fire. From outside, she heard laughter, the kidnappers eating and joking as if they were not monsters. One of them entered, his eyes red and cruel. "If you try to run, you die faster," he warned, slamming the door. Kemi turned to the young man beside her. "I'm Kemi," she whispered. He replied weakly, "My name is Toby. I work in a hospital." Across the room, a young lady lifted her head and said, "I am Maria. My car broke down before I took that bus." The three exchanged terrified glances. They didn't need words to know the truth, none of them might leave the forest alive. That night, Kemi couldn't sleep. Every creak, every footstep outside made her heart race. Suddenly, a loud scream pierced the night. Everyone froze. The door flew open, and 2 kidnappers dragged a man out, and the man was kicking and begging for his life. Kemi and the others pressed their faces to the cracks in the wall. They saw firelight flicker outside, heard chanting, then a sickening silence. Minutes later, the kidnappers returned, blood splattered on their shirts. One dropped something wet on the floor. It was the man's shirt, soaked in red. Maria began to cry uncontrollably. Toby clenched his fist. "We need to escape," he whispered. Kemi's throat tightened. Escape? In a forest they didn't even know. But deep down, she knew it was their only chance. Because every midnight, one person vanished, and never came back. And tomorrow night, it could be her turn. By morning, the kidnappers brought them watery pap and dry bread. No one ate. The forest was silent except for the distant cries of unseen animals. Kemi's stomach churned, not from hunger but fear. One of the men shouted, "Stand up. No talking." He walked around like a guard dog, his machete glinting in the sun. Kemi noticed 7 of them left, 3 men and 4 women. One had swollen eyes from crying all night. Toby whispered, "They take 1 person every night. We must run before it's our turn." Kemi nodded slowly, her heart pounding. Maria looked weak but determined. That night, when darkness swallowed the hut again, they heard chanting deeper in the forest. Then came a scream, a man begging, "Please. My wife just gave birth. I'll give you money." The begging turned into silence. Kemi pressed her face into her knees and cried quietly. The next morning, the kidnappers dragged back what was left of the man who had begged for his life. His shirt was torn, his chest open. Kemi turned her face away and vomited. The others wailed, but the kidnappers only laughed. One of them shouted, "If anyone talks too much, you go next." Silence filled the hut again. Even breathing felt dangerous. Toby whispered, trembling, "That man said his wife just had a baby. He offered them millions, and they still killed him." His voice broke. "They are not human, Kemi." Maria hugged her knees, whispering prayers under her breath. Kemi stared at the door, her eyes red and swollen. Every minute felt like her last. She thought of her mother who would have been trying her line relentlessly, wondering why her phone was off. Tears streamed down her face. "Mama," she whispered, "please pray for me wherever you are." That night, the forest echoed with cries and prayers. Each captive called on their God, others chanted in strange tongues. Hope was fading fast. Kemi knelt on the cold ground, whispering, "Lord Jesus, please don't let me die here." Her voice trembled, but she kept praying. Maria joined her, tears streaming. Outside, thunder rumbled far away. The kidnappers sat by the fire, drinking and laughing, their machetes glinting in the flames. Kemi's body shook, but her spirit burned with one thought: she must leave. When the kidnappers dozed off, Toby leaned close and whispered, "Tomorrow night, we would have to escape." Kemi nodded weakly. Maria's eyes widened with fear, but she agreed. They held hands and prayed one last time. It was the first flicker of hope they had felt in days. By the next evening, Kemi, Toby, and Maria had made up their minds. They would run or die trying.